Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Reddit to do marketing for your app, your business, your e-commerce store, whatever you want. And I'm going to show you how to automate the entire process. So Reddit is one of the most powerful tools for doing market research for your brand, for your e-commerce business, for really anything that you're distributing. And it's really unused from what I've seen. So Reddit, every single day, there are people in certain subreddits, in communities that you want to be a part of that are posting about your exact business idea, the problem that you are solving, and it's mostly going unnoticed. I did this for my own mobile app that I'm building called PupScan. It's in the App Store, and I wanted to figure out what are the problems people are having with their puppies, with their dogs that they're training, and how can my app help address that? So I'm going to walk you through this flow I made to gather those insights, to create comments, to reply to those people, to store all of those comments, those posts, the URLs, so that I can access them easily into one unified Google Sheet, which is right here. And I'm going to show you how to automate this whole process to even create a system where the bot writes the comments for you and posts them for you, all in one workflow using N8n. All right, let's get into it. So here I'm in my N8n workflow. I'm going to be sharing this actual workflow in the comments. So if you want to see this, feel free to hit the link down below and you can follow along. You can download this and actually implement this for yourself. So to start out with, we're going to have our scheduled trigger here. The way I have it set up is I am going to be doing it every single day at 8 a.m. So we can set this however we want. We can do this every single few hours if we want to. We can do it 5 times a day. But for me, once a day is fine. So the first thing we're going to do is plug in this Reddit note. Now, to plug in this Reddit note, we need our authentication to be set up correctly. And the Reddit authentication is a little bit complicated. So I would read up on the docs there. N8n has pretty good docs on how to set up the Reddit credentials. You have to go create a new app under your Reddit profile, and that is what's going to give you access to your API keys. If you guys have more questions about that, I can make another video. Just let me know in the comments. So once that's set up, we have our actual Reddit node set up, and we have a bunch of things that we can do that N8n has already pre-built for us. So here I'm going to set up the node. This is our input on the left. Obviously, it's just a schedule trigger. Here we have our output on the right. So the way this is going to work is I want to first connect my Reddit account in the credentials. Then I can choose, do I want to scan for posts on Reddit? Do I want to scan for comments, profiles, subreddits, specific user, or I can make a custom API call that I can write myself. So for this, I just want to search through posts. The way we're going to do it is every single day, I want to search every post across all of Reddit for anything that mentions dogs, puppies, and I can change those filters as well. But let's start with that. So we're going to start with operation is search. We can also, we can create a post, which we'll come back to later. We can delete a post. We can get a post just to be able to manipulate the data on our own end. We can get many posts from a subreddit, or we can search from across all subreddits or across all of Reddit. So we're going to search across all of Reddit. I want to do a search, and I want to do it all across all of Reddit. And these are the keywords that I'm going to put in: dog or puppy. And then you can put in whatever else you want. If you're doing cats, you can do cats. And then we're going to select return all. And then here we have our sort. So I can sort by what has the most comments, what's hot right now, what's new, what's relevant, or top. These are just pre-made filters by Reddit. And I'm not really going to be doing anything there. What I do want to do though is, since this trigger is going to be, since this workflow is going to be triggered every single day at 8 a.m., I'm going to sort by new. because I just want the newest posts every single day. So if we execute that step, we can see what exactly is going to happen here. We're just going to get a bunch of raw data from Reddit coming back. So we can do a quick little spot check. First thing I see, subreddit pet loss, self-text, we just lost our beloved dog. So here we go. That was my filter, and it'll go through and explain what exactly is happening. We're going to get a bunch of data like the full name, this, how many people have saved it, a bunch of other stuff like this. A lot of this data is not going to be relevant for us, but we're going to get it anyways. There are over 40 columns. So if we switch to the JSON, we can actually go through and scroll and see what all those columns are. It's not really going to add much for us right now. This is probably a cleaner way to look at it, the schema. This will actually give us every single column name. So this is what we're getting back. This is it in table format. I can go through the next few as well. Let's see, home maintenance. So some of these are not going to be relevant, right? Howdy, I'm moving out of an apartment into a house. I expect my dog got stressed out. This might be relevant. But anyways, every single post here, it's something to do with dog. This is an empty post. So I'm wondering, maybe in the title, right? Let's see, in the title, yeah, it says dog. Okay, so it's scanning the post content and the title, and anything that says dog or puppy, it's going to return for us. So we can see here, I think N8n does this thing where it limits you to 250 results, which is it's kind of okay. If we feel like 250 is not enough, we can set this to run multiple times a day. If we think that there's going to be 5,000 people mentioning dog or puppy every single day on Reddit, we can set this to run every hour. So we're going to make sure we get every single one, right? So that's the first step. We have a table of our data coming in. Now I'm going to pin this data right here so that every single time as we move through these nodes, I don't need to execute every single step because that can get really messy. So here we have our data. Here we have our Reddit data coming in. We see that these are all the fields that we have to work with. And next, we need to create it. We need to create a way to read that data and make it useful for us. So this is a set field node right here. And you can see here, N8n makes this really good. So inside every single node, you can see what data is being passed around. N8n is really a data manipulation, data kind of passing and execution platform. So every single node, there will be certain items, and that's how they classify them, passed along to the next node. So initially we had one item passed, which is our schedule trigger. Then we went to Reddit. We manipulated all of these posts. We got them back. We got 244 items back. And then we can set the fields that we actually want to use. And we can do that right here. So here's our node. The input data, we get every single node in that we've used in the past as something that we can use now, right? So this is just a manual mapping that I'm going to do to actually set these fields and make them usable and name those field names in a way that's actually useful for me, right? So here I'll put post text. It's going to be a string because it's going to be a whole paragraph or, kind of like a whole essay of text that this person's put in. It's going to be a string. And here I map the exact data that I want to use. So self text, all you do is you just drag it in right here. And you're able to use that data in this field, in this table, and you can rename it whatever you want. So here I have my post text. I'm going to drag in the self text. I also want the subreddit. So I just dragged in the subreddit here. I also want my title. The title is right here. Just drag that over, and then you can also map the data. Losing my pet dog Phoebe, losing my pet dog Phoebe. Ups, so this is upvotes. I'm going to rename it to upvotes right here. There's one. The URL, because I want to be able to really easily at the end of this just click. Here's my URL. Go there, write the comment, paste it in, and then boom, just move on. And here's the ID. So many times to actually get to a post ID, if you want the comment to be written by the bot and you want it to just autofill the comment, you can do that, but you're going to have to save the ID, not the URL. So I'm going to save both. So if we go execute step here, you'll see all of this kind of ugly, junky data being organized into a really clean, small table that I can use. And that's actually going to be really useful for me going forward. So here we have the post text, here we have the subreddit, the title, how many upvotes it has, the URL, and the ID. So let's do a quick spot check and go through. Here we have, post text. So this is probably some kind of image here or a link to an article. The subreddit's Australian cattle dog, 36 cute cattle dog faces, and here's the URL. Cool. So now we have 250 posts. Let's go ahead and pin this data as well. We have 244 items, right? About 250. So 244 items. And now we have a bunch of stuff we can do with this, right? Now I can explain really quickly what my app does. My app is called PupScan, and it's meant to scan dog emotions, dog health, anything that you can tell from a visible point of view. So if you have a skin rash on your dog, you can take a photo, it'll scan it, it'll say, that looks fine, or, this is kind of dangerous. I would watch it and maybe, do these kind of treatments. Or if it looks really bad, it'll just say, go to a vet. So that's one thing. You can scan its personality. It'll give you like a little aura reading. You can ask it what it's thinking. You can scan its poop. It's kind of a all-encompassing dog care, dog wellness kind of app. So that said, I go through Reddit and I find a bunch of people talking about, oh, I wish my dog could do this. I really, wish I could understand what my dog was thinking. Oh, is my dog having this kind of issue? So those are the kind of posts that would be relevant for my app, right? Like I would see those posts, I would go in and I'd be like, hey, this sounds pretty concerning, or, that's such a cute thing your dog's doing. Blah, 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 that's fun, yada, yada. And then, hey, if you want to learn more, you can try out this app that I made called PupScan. Right. So that would be like a relevant thing for me to reply to. And that would actually help my app's marketing. It might help the person if they try it out and they like the app. So these are all things that are actually going to be beneficial to my app. But just looking at this post right here, it's really hard to say that, right? Like this person's writing a super long message saying we loved our dog. We just lost our dog. Like if I just go in and say, hey, crazy story, have you tried PupScan? Like that's not going to land, and it's probably going to get me banned from that subreddit. So I don't want that, right? So now that we have this data, we can actually now start filtering out the stuff that's actually useful here, right? So this was just the first step, right? Trigger the alert and scrape Reddit every day at 8 a.m. Okay. So that's our first little batch of 3 nodes. That's done. We can now move on to our next batch. So here I am going to start filtering out the relevant posts using ChatGPT to classify whether or not a post is actually relevant to my app. So let's go here and go to our OpenAI model. And here, same thing. We have our input on the left. We have our model parameters and settings in the middle, and then we have our output on the right. Okay. So OpenAI, again, you have to connect first. You have to put in your credentials. This one is way more straightforward. You go to platform.openai.com, set up an API key, load up a little balance. You really only need like $1. $1 will get you, at least for my whole bot, the whole workflow. I've seen that, running like 250 queries or whatever, it only costs like 4 or 5 pennies. So if you load up $1, you'll be able to run this at least like 20 times, maybe like the whole month if you get less than 250 replies every time. So anyways, that's how you set up OpenAI. Resource text. We're not really going to be uploading images or audio or any custom files or anything like that. we're just going to be uploading text. Operation message a model. So we're just going to put in a message and we're going to be expecting a message back, right? So here we go. Model from list GPT-4o mini. We have a whole list of models that we can use, right? It's literally infinite that we can use, but GPT-4o mini, it does the job for me. We don't, especially for this, all we need is a classification. We don't need any kind of creative writing. We don't need any kind of really advanced reasoning or math or anything like that. It's literally just, hey, is this thing relevant to my app or is it not? So let's open up this actual parameter window and we're going to see here, decide whether or not this is the prompt that I'm actually putting in to OpenAI, right? Decide whether or not this title and or post content is relevant at all to PupScan, an AI-powered dog scanner app that scans dogs for their thoughts, emotions, health, poop for health, and generally helps pet parents connect with their dogs. Now, the title, again, we go back here, and in these parameters, we can drag and drop all the fields that we have from the past, right? So I have created this set of fields that I want to be able to use at any point in the future, right? So I'm going to take this post text and I'm going to drag it in here and I'm going to say, look, after that prompt that I gave you, this is the actual post and this is the actual title. You just drag those two in here. And then I'm telling it at the end, relevant to PupScan, yes or no. And this line is really the key right here. If you don't put this line in here, yes or no, the replies that you get from ChatGPT are going to be really all over the place. It's going to sometimes say, oh, maybe it's relevant, or it's just going to give you all this like flowery language that you don't need. All you need is a yes or no. And you can even make it more strict and tell it reply only with yes or no. But I sometimes like the explanation. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I'll show you in future nodes how we're actually going to break this down. So now this is going to take a sec for OpenAI to actually go through 244 items right here and cycle through every single one to read the text, to reply to the text, and then to output it. So in general, this should take maybe 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm just going to wait and I'll come back when it's ready. All right, so we're back, and now we can see that we have a whole table of replies from OpenAI. So here is what OpenAI passes back to us, and these are different formats that every single node, every single pre-built node, or every single node that you kind of custom modify, like an HTTP node that is making a custom API request, they're all going to give you different formats. So ChatGPT, the node replies with an ID. So this is a chat ID. You can see all these are going to be unique. It's going to give you an object, chat completion, that should be the same every single time. Created, this should be some kind of like UTC-based timestamp. The model, this would also not really change ever. The usage, how many tokens it took. And this is the stuff that actually matters. So choices. So here we go. Index 0. This is going to be, I don't really know what most of these are, to be honest. The only thing that's relevant to us is content. So you can see here every single reply. This is what ChatGPT actually passes back to us from the prompt that we sent and from what we're requesting back. So content here. No. The post discusses a personal experience of losing a dog. So like we said, if we just go in here about that dog post where it's just like, look, I lost my dog Phoebe. We're so sad. If I just go in and start saying, hey, use PupScan, like that's not going to land, right? So ChatGPT correctly classifies this as no. The post discusses a personal experience, so no need. This time, content, no, not relevant. Content, no, not relevant. And if we really want, we can reference this back to the original table that we sent over. But here we go. Here we got our first yes, right? So this one, it says it's relevant. This one, no. This one, no. This one, no. Relevant to PubScan, no. Relevant to PubScan, no. So most of these are not relevant. So this is really useful for us because we don't have to now waste our time going through and scanning Reddit and looking at like, all right, where does it say dog? Where do people mention puppy? Where do people mention, dog training or what have you? We can just go in, create these filters, and have all of them pass the LLM and have it categorize for us what's actually relevant, where we should spend our time replying to people, where we should make posts. So this is a really good filtering system. I've found it to be super useful. I use it every single day. So yeah, that's how we're gonna filter out the good posts from the bad posts. So far I've seen about 5 or so out of maybe 100, or no, out of 5 out of 50. It's about 10%, which is pretty standard. Every single day I would say I get about 20 to 25 useful posts to reply to. So here we go. Here, this is a really basic filtering system where I'm not asking it to say, filter it out for me and also do a reply, anything like that. No, just yes or no. That's really all I need here. So let's pin this data. What did I do here? Not edit the data. Let's pin the data. Okay, so we've got all of this here. We've got 244 items coming back. And now let's create a new edit field, set field, and a thing. So we can change the title here to OpenAI filter table. Rename that. So now we can manually map all of the replies that we want, and we can manually map those with the initial fields that we got back from Reddit, right? So now it's mapping the fields that we got from Reddit to the classification from OpenAI. It's all going to be in one clean table. So here we put relevant. We take the content piece, right? So you can see the schema right here from OpenAI. We have choices, and then we have choices index 0. Then we have the actual message, and then in the message we have content. This is the only thing that we care about, right? So take this here, right? Take this here, and you just put it right in there, and that's it, right? And now I have no, the post discusses a personal experience, so no, right? And then I can add in all the other fields that I want. So I want everything in one table, right? I want the actual relevance, I want the post, I want the subreddit, I want the title, I want the upvotes, I want the URL, and I want the ID. And I just execute that step, and it's going to give me one really clean table that has everything that I want right here. So here we go. Post text. We just lost our beloved dog. No, it discusses a personal experience of losing a pet, and that's not relevant for me, right? I just pinned that. Let's look at the next one. Let's keep spot checking just to make sure that it did it right. Okay. This is that link that we said 36 cute cattle dog faces, not relevant. I've been looking all over for a staffy breeder, not relevant. Howdy, I'm moving out of an apartment into a house. Please don't crucify me. Anybody have advice? No, that's not relevant to us. Okay, hi, has anyone fed mixed this food to their dogs? I can't totally understand what they're saying. Oh, they're speaking in Hindi. So this is another great thing about ChatGPT. It will translate any language and it will understand it, whereas I would not. So let's find more that are relevant to us. Let's see. There should be a couple. Should be a couple here. No. Most of these are no's. Okay, let's find another yes. and then we'll move on. Okay, most of these are no's. Honestly, the no's are more useful than the yeses because, well, they're all useful, but filtering out 250 posts is really good because I don't want to go through all those every day. Okay, so here we go. Post text. There's nothing here. This friendly dog teaches the baby how to play with him. Maybe. Scenario where a dog is interacting positively with the baby. Okay. I mean, it's better than a lot of these posts, but not the best. Okay, here we go. My new puppy. Maybe. Let's see. Something a little more useful. Okay. I have 2 male husky mixes. One is 11, one is 6. We moved out of the city. So he's asking for dog advice. Cat, he's asking about, furniture treatments. He's asking about fur. He's asking about sensitive skin. So these are all perfect. So this is definitely one I'm going to want to reply to. Cool. So the point of this is now we have all of our data from Reddit and our classification from OpenAI all in one place. It is clean in one table, taking out all the junk data that I don't want, and now I can actually use this data. So we've done that. Now is the key part, right? So we have a table that has yeses and nos, and we have all the other elements that are relevant to us in that table as well. So here we're going to put in our conditional node. So this is an if node. And here it's a super simple node, right? We have our input, which is the filter table that we just made. And we can use other nodes if we want to, but we just organize everything super cleanly into this one table. And now we're going to just check if this reply from OpenAI has the word yes. That's literally it, right? So you can take any field, right? You can take any fields from here. You can see, you can check posts. You can check, the actual response. What I want to check is the response from OpenAI, and I want to see if OpenAI says yes or no. That's it. That's literally it. If it contains the word yes, right, and you can do a lot of checks here. You can check, date and time. You can check the number. You can check literally anything. I could add one here that says, the upvotes. If I wanted to do the upvotes, I could check if the upvotes are greater than 10. I could do that if I want, and then it will only give me things that have been heavily upvoted. But I don't really want that. I kind of want to just get every single post that is even a little bit relevant to me, because every download matters, every single customer matters. So I want all the data, right? Let's just see. Let's just execute the step now. It's going to be a really simple step. It's just matching the work that I've already done and seeing if it's a yes or no, right? So here we go. Our true branch, which is the ones that contain yes, gave me 28 items, and our false branch, which is the ones that don't contain yes, are 216. Now, this is not the end all be all in terms of this is not the perfect way to do it, because in Relevant, OpenAI might have had some responses where it actually said no, and then in describing the whole thing, it just threw in the word yes. But so far, I don't see that happening. Right? Every single thing is yes, 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 yes. Okay. Yes. Cool. Perfect. So these are all just the ones that are relevant for me. Yes, 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 yes. So here we go. Now I have 28 Reddit posts that mention dog or puppy that have gone through OpenAI's filtering system, where I fed it the context of my specific app. I could even feed it the URL if I wanted to, and tell it, here's the App Store link. You can make the decision by yourself. But I just explained the app, and now it goes through and it will tell me if this post is relevant, if it's not relevant. And I have 28 out of 250 original posts where I know these are exactly relevant for my app, right? Like this is a process that would normally take maybe 4 to 5 hours, and it's been cut down into about, I don't know, 45 seconds, right? Obviously, I'm going through and explaining all this stuff, which is why it takes longer. But if you run this in the morning at 8 a.m., you'll have this table in like literally 45 seconds, maybe a couple minutes for OpenAI to actually do the processing, but that's it. Cool. Okay, so now we have from the if node. The if node gives you two outputs, right? So remember where we had the items being passed through? So here it's going to tell you that you have two different loops, or you have two different conditionals here, right? So here we have the true conditional on the top, where it's going all the way down here. And you can see that 28 items are being passed here, right there, 28. Then we have the false conditional, where 216 items are being passed, and we don't want to do anything with those. That's just a dead end, right? If you're false, if you're not relevant to PubScan, doesn't matter. You just sit there. I don't need to deal with you anymore. Thank you for your service, right? But the true ones, we are going to pass along because we do want to work with those. So these 28 items, these are the things that are going to be useful for us every single day, okay? And it's going to be, new ones every day. It's not going to be just these 28, right? You run this every time and you get new replies. So now the next batch or the next little section here is going to be draft a comment to actually respond to that Reddit post, right? So we have 28 Reddit posts now that are relevant to us. They've been categorized. They have been, read through, and we know that this is something that's actually going to maybe lead to customers for us that are, they are describing something that we have actually solved. So might as well reply to them, right? So here we go. Now we go in, we see that we have these input fields, right? Now the if conditional, the true conditional, that's what's being passed in. It passes the same fields as this filter table that I made, but it only passes the true items, right? So here, same exact node. We have draft comment now, right? OpenAI is going to draft a comment for us. Again, same thing, connect with your credentials, resources, text. We're only going to pass in text. We're not going to deal with messages or anything, or we're not going to deal with images or anything like that. Same thing, message model from list. So this time, one thing to note is I'm using GPT 4.0. I'm not using 4.0 mini because this is a little more involved than just doing a classification of yes or no. This time I actually want to write a message. And to do that, I'm okay spending, 10% more in cost, which is like literally going to be less than a penny to get a better reply. Like I want the comment to be as, legit sounding as possible. And to do that, let's go in and see what our prompt looks like. So the expression, you are the new fun marketing intern for PubScan, AI-powered dog scanner app that scans dogs for their thoughts and emotions. I'm describing the app. Read the following Reddit post and come up with a fun comment that addresses the user's post, provides value, and at the end, subtly plugs the app. Tell them they can find it in the App Store. Do not include any emojis, any formatting in your responses. Make this as casual and informal as possible, appealing to the genuine nature of Reddit. Limit responses to one paragraph. Okay, so you're going to get all of this in the actual workflow. Again, you can download it in the description below. You're not going to have to change anything right here. You can keep all of the elements the exact same. You don't even have to change the JSON here, the title, the post text, everything will be the exact same. And here the result is this. So every single item, it's going to pass in the prompt that I just wrote, and then it's going to pass in the actual title, and then it's going to pass in the actual Reddit post, right? And then what it's going to get back is OpenAI's actual response, right? So let's execute this step. And again, this one might take a minute or two because it's going to pass in 28 items right here. So these 28 items, it's going to wait for a response from OpenAI, and then it's going to give us that response. So I'm going to let this run, and I'll come back when it's ready. All right, we're back. So here we go. We got our responses now from OpenAI. And we can see that it's in the same format as before. So, index, message, log props, finish reason. So, and as we go into the actual message, we can see our output. So, role, assistant, content. Hey there, switching up flavors can definitely throw our pups for a loop sometimes. Might just be that the salmon's a bit too rich, yada, yada, yada. And then at the end, if you're curious about what's really going on with your pup's digestion and emotions, check out this cool new app, PupScan. You can find it in the App Store. Nice. So you can see here, it's actually replying to the user's original post. It's actually figuring out like what is their intent. They have some trouble with the salmon. You're searching up their food. You're going to reply to this with some value, like, those fiber-rich nutrient chunks are great. Every dog handles, dietary changes a little differently. And if you want, you can check out this app. There's no links. There's no like direct selling really. Like obviously there's a plug at the end, but it's not too overt. And it's generally not going to trigger, mods in the subreddit. It's not going to trigger like a bot activity kind of thing because you're not including links and you're not like spamming too much. And we'll get to the actual, how to avoid that stuff in a few minutes. But now we can see that we have our responses that we actually want. So it's sounding kind of like a human, like congrats on the new puppy. Seriously, nothing better than those tiny paws and puppy breath. Like, okay, it might be a little improved, but not too bad. And you can see that it's varying up the actual replies. So, dealing with fleas and mites sounds like a total nightmare. It's an incredible story. Hey there, it sounds like you've had a whirlwind couple of days. Congrats on the new little floof. Always interesting trying to decode. And it doesn't, the main thing is it doesn't go straight into like, hey, download PupScan. Hey, download PupScan. It's just, it saves it for the very end. And then it just, it sounds like a normal person. And then it mentions it at the end. So I like this. This is very good. This is kind of the exact type of comment that I would want. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's pin this and let's go. All right. So this data is pinned. We've got the content that we want. And again, it's passing on. This is the most important thing in N8n is you have to make sure that the correct data is being passed to every single node, right? So we are now passing 28 items to the next set field node. And now we can combine all of that data into one table that's going to house all of the items that we want. So let's go through this, right? So post plus comment. This is what this node is going to do. It's going to combine the posts and the comments and everything else that we want all into one table, right? So here we go. From the if that I initially got, right, we have the post text, we have whether or not it's relevant, we have the subreddit title, upvotes, all this stuff. And that's exactly what we're passing over. So the first thing we're passing over is the actual content, right? Let me just delete all this and do it again just to show you. I take this content, just drag it in. All right, so simple. You can even see the result right here. At the same time, from the post text, that's all we need from the OpenAI node. From the if node, we want the post text. We want the subreddit. We want the title. We want the upvotes. And this is, again, you don't really need to change anything at all. But just to explain what's happening, this is saying from the if1 node, take the item.json called post text. Same thing here from the if1 node, grab the one that's called subreddit, grab the one that's called title, grab the one that's called upvotes, grab the one URL, grab the one called ID. So that is what this is doing. It's just kind of putting all those fields from different nodes, putting them all into one. Let's execute that step. And we're going to get a pretty table that comes out that literally has everything that we need. It has the comment that we're going to reply with. It has the post text. It has the sub. It has the title, upvotes, URL, and ID. So at this stage, you are kind of finished in the sense that you have the comment that you're going to write, you have the post, you have the URL. So if you really wanted to do this every day, you could just copy this URL. You could just go right here. You could actually see the post. You can see that it's getting me, the correct post. And if I want to try this right now, like I can even just copy this and I can paste it, I can paste it without any formatting. And boom, like if I want this as a system that is going to, find me the data that I need and give me the reply that I want to write, I have it set. The system is already here. It's created. It is set. I have this as a daily tool that I can use. Right. Let's pin that data, but we're not there yet. Let's make this system even more robust. Let's make it so that we have to basically do no work at all. Right. So the next steps here. Now we're done. Now we have the comments. Right. Let's go to the very final phase. This phase is a little more complicated, right? Because what we're going to do here is we're going to be looping. We're going to be looping over our items here and doing multiple things with them instead of just doing one thing and then finishing there. So the reason we need a loop element here is because we're going to pass one item at a time and we're going to do multiple things with it. So let's go through here. So loop over items and batch size meaning 1. All this does, and once again, it's going to tell you here you don't actually need to do this, but I'm going to explain exactly why we do need it. So execute step, it will just reply with one item. The loop branch goes to one item, right? So it has 2 branches. One where it shows what's been done already, one where it shows what is currently being looped. So this is the item right now that is currently being looped, right? This is the first item from that table that we just created. Here's the comment, here's the post, all that same stuff is the link that we just replied to, in fact. Okay. Now, the next node is our Google Sheets node. Okay. So here we go. And what's happening is it's being passed this loop over items, right? So it just gets one item right here. You can see it gets one item versus the other nodes that we were passing. They're passing over 28 items at a time, which is not what we want, because I'm going to show you exactly what we want. So first thing I want to do is I want to actually add this to my Google Sheet, right? So let's go to my Google Sheet. This has been running for, a few days. It's been adding all these comments for me. And so here I am. I'm on row 93. I put it in green. And let's see, this is not the same post that we had before. I've recently moved into my first home. So this is, subreddit's different. So it's a different post, obviously, right? Okay, so let's execute this step. Okay, we see this comment posted here. We should be able to go into our sheet and see right here. There we go. Hey there, switching out flavors can definitely throw our pups for a loop. So we can see that this is now populating inside our Google Sheet exactly the way we want. We can reference all the same data and it's going to just add it in here every single day automatically. We don't have to do anything. Okay? So boom. Now we have this. And now this is where the magic happens. So here we have a way to actually post comments. So this is a part of the inbuilt Reddit node from N8n. And I'll preface all this by saying I do not recommend you make Reddit bots for things that break Reddit's terms of service. So they don't allow you to actually make bots that are promoting apps and things like that. So that's why I actually haven't implemented this comment system for my own app. And just for full transparency, I've actually dealt with this problem of being flagged as a bot, of being flagged as I forget what they call it, but essentially they'll just suspend your account if they think it's a bot, if they think you're doing stuff that's not allowed. And Reddit does allow bots, but they're bots that are allowed to, do like moderation or do kind of like basic stuff like that. You're not allowed to have bots for promotion or for, they have a whole list of stuff that you can't have bots for. So, yeah, that's my disclaimer. Don't break their terms of service. You're going to get banned. Yeah, especially from like an account that you've had forever. Like if you get suspended, you can't get that back. So, disclaimer there. That said, I will teach you how to do it. Okay. So, same thing, Reddit, authentication, post comment instead of post, right? So last time we did, what did we do? I think we did resource post. Now post comment, right? Operation create. So we can get comments, we can delete comments, reply. But here we want to create a top level comment. And this is where I was mentioning we need the post ID. We can't just use the URL. And all we need is the ID and the comment text, right? So here's the ID. Here is the comment text. This is the one that I just posted on. So I'm not going to actually execute this. I'm also not going to execute this because I don't want to get flagged as a bot. But if you execute this step, it will work. I can guarantee you that much. I have done it myself. And it will actually post a comment. I cannot guarantee you that you won't get flagged as a bot and you won't get suspended. That might happen. But this is how you create a commenting bot on Reddit for whatever service that you want, right? So essentially what we've created now is a way to scan Reddit, all of Reddit, for every single post that's relevant to what we're doing, filtering out the ones that are truly relevant, not just by keyword, but actually passing it to an LLM and having it classify, is this whole post relevant to my app? Passing those through another, conditional, gathering those, having the LLM actually write the comment, storing all that in a Google Sheet, and then this final little bit, if you want to actually post the comment, you can execute this step. Now, there's one final step to execute this, which is the wait node. So if you start doing these posts through Reddit, you could have totally just skipped this loop over items, right? And you could have just passed this set fields node onto Google Sheet and just append the rows, right? What it would do it would have appended 28 items at a time. And then you could have just passed all of those rows to Reddit and just said, post all these comments, right? And that 1,000,000% would have got you flagged as a bot and kicked off of Reddit forever, because it's so clearly a bot that's like commenting every 10 milliseconds. And it's commenting on 28 posts, like within 1 second. So you would get flagged as a bot, you would get kicked, and your account would be suspended, and that would just backfire. So I have built a system where it doesn't do that. And that is why we loop over each item. We add only one item to a Google Sheet. We add only one item as a comment. And then we add this node called wait. And what this wait node does is it waits the exact amount of time that you set it to wait. So instead of 1 second, you would make it wait 11 minutes. Why 11 minutes? Just do it, okay? There is some kind of system in Reddit where if you comment too much, it will start flagging that. And more importantly, it just makes you wait 8 minutes for, something between comments. Like, I don't know why, it just makes you wait, right? So just add an 11-minute wait block, and then you can execute. Then what happens is after this wait block, so this loop over items, right? We had two different items. We had the done item, and then we had the loop item, right? So the done item had one item, it was blank. Loop item had one item, and it actually had something, right? Once this whole process completes, you send it back to the exact same loop over items, right? It's going to wait. It's going to wait 11 minutes, right? And then it's going to loop again. Then it's going to go to the very next item. And then it's going to add that to the Google Sheet. And then it's going to add that to Reddit as a comment. And the reason that you have to wait is because you don't want to get flagged as a bot. You don't want to keep getting that error of like, you've commented twice in less than 8 minutes. you're a bot, you're suspended forever, you're gone. So we don't want that. So we have the loop first, get one item, add it to the sheet, make the comment, wait 11 minutes, loop again, next item, Google Sheet, make the comment, wait 11 minutes, and then do it again, right? 11 minutes is long enough where it's not going to trigger any kind of bot activity, and it's also not going to be prohibitive in the sense that if you run this, let's say you have 30 items every single day, 30 items, 11 minutes, it's 330 minutes, it's like 5.5 hours. What do you care, right? Like, it's just running on N8n servers, it's running on Reddit, it's going to comment every 11 minutes. It even looks more like a human, right? You have somebody going through for 5.5 hours just commenting on posts about dogs. So that's how you do that. That's why this last section is a little more complicated than the rest of it, is because you need to have this loop and wait system. You can't just do it all at once because that will for sure get you banned. So this is how we create a Reddit system that does market research for us. It actually gathers all the data for us every single day. It filters through an LLM for the ones that are relevant to our app. It then goes through, passes all of that to another LLM to create a comment for us, passes that to our looping system where it tracks everything on a Google Sheet so we can do it manually. And then if we want these last two nodes, which I have not implemented or have not executed, I have implemented them, I just haven't executed them, will actually comment for us. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions about this, just leave a comment down below. I will try and answer all of them. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.